we have a very exciting video. If you're new here, hello, my name is Leah. I am a portrait photographer here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am super excited to bring you guys this camera review today. As you can see, my setup is a bit different today, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below if we like it. A couple of weeks ago, a brand called ExproTrek reached out and asked me if I could do a review on their 4K action camera. After sending a few emails back and forth, I decided that I would go ahead and do the review, and I am super excited to bring you guys the ExproTrek 4K action camera. This ExproTrek 4K action camera retails for $109.99 on Amazon and their retail website. Seeing that these kind of cameras can go anywhere from $50 to $500, this is definitely on the affordable side. Now, as you guys know, I am more of a photographer, and you might be wondering why I am reviewing an action camera, but personally, I love traveling and I love being able to get those really cool shots underwater. It's really fun to show off action shots in travel videos because we really want the audience to feel immersed in our travel experience, and getting action shots like paddleboarding, biking, going underwater, surfing, all of that kind of stuff is really easy with action cameras. So this is exactly what the box looks like. I am going to have two different angles for you so that you can kind of see my hands down here and then just me talking to the camera. So first up, we have this front of the box, which just says UHD 4K action camera and their logo across the top. At the end, it also does say dual color screen display. Let's go ahead and take a look at this side of the box. This side of the box is basically just telling you all of the different features that you get. On the back here, we have some different pictures of what the action camera might be used for. Alright, let's go ahead and open up the box. We're going to go ahead and pull out the flap here and open the tab. As we first pull it up, you'll see that their logo is right here on the front of the box so that you know exactly where this camera is from. The first thing that we'll see inside of here is the ExproTrek instruction manual. Let's go ahead and continue opening up. The first things I see on top of here are some rechargeable batteries. For this camera, you do get two rechargeable batteries. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories that we get with this action camera. When I looked online at the information of what it comes with, it seems like there was a lot of stuff in here, so I'm very excited for that. Let's go ahead and open up the box itself. First one is this mount right here. Oh, it's a clip mount. Alright guys, so we are going to go ahead and move on to just going quickly through all of the accessories that you get in the ExproTrek action camera kit. So I do have the instruction manual to help me out with this a little bit because I had to definitely guess on some of these and did not get them right. So I'm going to go ahead and show on the screen as I talk about them and kind of tell you what they are. This is the remote for the action camera that lets you stop and start recording or take a photo without having to actually be close to the camera, which is really, really nice. Next up, we have, this is a bicycle mount. So they basically just describe these as flat adhesive pads, which means you could probably stick them to anywhere you wanted to. And it did come with those two extra adhesives just in case you want to reuse this in any way. Next up, we have the USB cable. Again, just a very simple cable that I'm assuming helps you plug in the camera to be able to charge the batteries inside of it. We have two long, they describe them as long thumb screws, which I believe just help screw into one of these other mounts. And then we also have one called an extension mount, which I'm assuming just makes it longer. We do have two adhesive pads. I know I showed the other one earlier, but one of them does not have a screw in. It just has a plate with a hole in it, so keep that in mind. Then we have a rotating screw, I believe just lets you rotate the camera easily. This is the clip-on mount. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, just clips onto wherever you want it to. And then we get all of these different kind of straps. We have two thin ones and two thick ones. Then we have the bigger wrist strap, which allows you to connect the remote control to your wrist. Then we have, they call this a J mount. Then for a couple last things, we do get the back of the camera case. Then we have this encasing. Alright guys, so that is it for all of the accessories that you get with this camera kit. Let's go ahead and get into what you probably clicked on this video for, which is the camera itself. So you'll find that it comes in the waterproof case to start out when you first get it. We'll see that there are two buttons on the side here, one on the top, and then flipping around to the back, we do get that LCD screen. We're gonna go ahead and take off the first initial screw-in mount so that we can kind of see how all of these different ones work. Let's go ahead and take it out of the waterproof case so that we can see the camera itself without anything. So to take off the waterproof case, it's a pretty simple, easy thing. We just go ahead and pop off this back plate here and the case will open up. And let's go ahead and take out the camera. Alright, so this is what the camera looks like when I take it out of the case firsthand. Really quickly, I do just want to do an overview of the specs that they mention on Amazon and their website so that you know exactly how they describe it and we can truly see if it lives up to that. So this action camera has 4K 60 FPS as well as 2.7K 60 FPS video, as well as 1080p 120 FPS and 720p at 240 FPS. For the photos, it takes 20 megapixel photos at 30 frames per second. It has 170 degrees HD wide angle fisheye lens, IPS display. It supports up to a 128 micro SD card. It can go up to 40 meters or 130 feet underwater in the waterproof casing that it came in. It has built-in Wi-Fi and an HDMI and a USB 2.0 input. It also has an app that we will go through later in the video and connect to as well. That is everything that it says that it's capable of. Of course, we're gonna put that to the test and see if that is true. We're gonna go ahead and go through the features of this camera and kind of show you what I am seeing on the back as I'm going through them. Alright guys, so here is the camera in my hand. I'm gonna kind of go through and you'll see exactly what I am seeing on the camera as we go through it. Let's go ahead and look over on the side over here. So this is where our micro SD card goes and then our two different ports. So we have an HDMI and a USB 2.0. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other side. You'll see we have two different buttons. One of them says M and down arrow. So this lets you control the back of the screen if you're not someone who likes to scroll. Let's go ahead and turn it around to here. You'll see that we have the screw-in mount for any of those accessories we looked at earlier, the battery compartment which we opened up to put the battery in obviously, and the front here, this top button is the power on and off button, but it is also working as a selecting button. So when I'm going through these different screen modes, if I hit that button, it will let me change and reselect all these different functions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the different features we have on here. So in the bottom, you'll see there is a settings button that allows you to change the resolution of the video. We have EIS that we can turn on and off, distortion correction. We also have white balance that we can change to be auto, sunny, cloudy, incandescent, and fluorescence, which is actually really nice. Okay, going on, we have an exposure setting. We can do some exposure compensation on this as well. Have a metering mode with average, center, spot, as well as matrix metering. We also have a sharpness mode for high, middle, and low. Video quality, ISO, we can turn on auto or set it ourselves. It goes anywhere from 100 to 6400. Recording audio on and off. Next, let's go ahead and go to the settings. We have image rotation, Wi-Fi, also reset the Wi-Fi, light source frequency, LED indicator, auto screensaver, auto power off, button prompt, language, time set, date set, format, device, factory reset, all that different stuff. All right, so going back to this page, you'll see we have our battery telling us how much we have at the top right. In the lower left, we have our files that we take, which obviously we have none yet. If I press this button on the side, it just kind of functions through those three different menus that we have. Let's go ahead and go back to the video here. You'll see again, it's just taking nice videos of my room. If we press this M button on the side here, we can go ahead and find this button menu, which allows us to pick between settings, back to where we were, video modes, or whatever this is. Here you'll see that we have a video selection, we have slowly, loop, lapse, photo, auto, burst, and timer. When we are here in the video mode, if we hit the down arrow, we switch those different settings that we looked at earlier. So just so you can see along the bottom. So in order to record, you just go ahead and press down the top button. In the test footage, I will have all of that actually showing the camera test footage and all of that stuff. But for now, I believe that is it for all of the functions that we have. So I will give an overview of the video playbacks once we actually have that ready to go. Alright, so now that you guys have basically seen how this camera kind of functions, how the menu is set up, and what all the buttons look like, I'm going to go ahead and use this camera on my trip to North Carolina. So future me is going to take over and show you guys a little montage of clips I put together from using this camera in North Carolina. I'll be showing off the waterproof case, the different accessories, and how you can really use it to capture those amazing travel, epic action moments in your traveling. I am super excited to use it, and basically future Leah is going to take over and show you those clips right now. I went on a trip with my sister to North Carolina, and you basically just saw all the example footage I got with this camera. And now I'm gonna go ahead and give my final thoughts and some things that I really loved and some things I maybe thought could be better for this camera, and just basically give you my overall rating and whether or not you should buy this camera. First up, we're just gonna talk about basically the features and accessories of this camera and what I really loved about it. The first thing off the bat, with buying this action camera kit either on Amazon or through their website, the amount of mounts that you get with it, the amount of mounts, the amount of different accessories and things you can put on this camera, I actually find really cool. Being able to have so many different versatile mounts that I can just attach this camera to and get some really cool shots is really fun, and I just thought that was a really nice touch that they did with this camera, just making it affordable not only but also giving you like a lot for the money that you're paying. Next up, let's talk about the actual usability and functionality of the camera itself with all of its buttons. I actually think it's a very simple, easy to understand system with the different up and down buttons with the settings that you can get, pressing to just record, and then I figured out later on that if you hold down the M button, that is how you switch it to be from back of the screen to selfie mode on the front. Just go ahead and hold down the side button here. It'll give you like a little like loading signal, and then it'll go ahead and switch to the front of the screen. Most action cameras, they don't even have a screen on them, so I find this incredibly cool that you can switch it from being on the back to selfie mode. I really love that feature. It was super fun for taking pictures with my sister. Being able to see what we're trying to film on an action camera is really nice, especially with just having a back screen, so selfie mode just makes it like 100 times better. Okay, one other thing I wanted to talk about was the remote function and being able to have the wrist remote that we looked at earlier. I love that thing. That's so smart. I know they make them for like your cameras and phones and stuff, but I've never personally tried one. It was so nice to be able to stick this to the dash of the car when I wanted to get a video of us driving or something like that. I just wanted a time lapse or something. I could just throw it in the sand and then have my remote and press the button. Like, it was so nice. It's just so easy and simple, and I think that was a really great accessory to throw in there. I also wanted to talk about the battery life. We were only there on Friday to 11 a.m. on Sunday, so we kind of just had Saturday as like our full day. I only switched out the camera battery once. Sometimes these little batteries like drain incredibly quick, and maybe it would have if I was using it like for hours at a time, but since I was just taking little videos here and there, it wasn't that big of an issue for me to have to charge it. Coming with two, it was really nice to be able to have a second one to just pop in and out. The only thing I don't love is the fact that I cannot charge the batteries outside of the camera. That's just something I personally would prefer, is to have like a external battery charger. I think that would just be a lot easier so that you can kind of get more efficiency with your batteries. Battery life was pretty great. Okay, so as you just saw on the example footage, I'm pretty impressed with the quality of this footage considering that this camera is literally this small. I know that it's not going to look exactly like, you know, my Canon R6 is going to look like. That's literally just a given. You know, you're not looking for 8K quality on these kind of things. You're looking for something that still looks good but is able to do the job easier. I did notice that it did get a little fuzzy on some of the different videos that I took, which was really weird. I decided to keep my ISO at 200, I believe, instead of keeping it on auto. In some of the videos, I believe it was more towards nighttime. It kind of gave, I honestly didn't mind it. It kind of just looks like you're shooting on film, old vintage film. Having these videos kind of be grainy, I actually don't mind. It's a personal preference. Didn't find it to be too excessive to where I felt like this was not a good action camera. I think it was just a little bit depending on the lighting situations that I was in, which is definitely a given. It's gonna look like an action camera 4K footage, and that's completely fine if that's the look you're going for. So it's all up to you and kind of your personality of what you like to shoot and what you're shooting and the look that you're wanting to achieve. The last thing I wanted to talk about for cons, if you will, when I had the camera in the waterproof case, now I know that you're gonna have to press harder with these buttons being like spring-loaded buttons in these cases. Sometimes it was just a little bit hard I had to press the button a couple of times to like get it to go. I don't think that's the camera's fault by any means. It's just the way these waterproof cases are made. So don't just think that like tapping it is gonna do anything. You really have to like press down to make those buttons move. Other thing I wanted to mention, that when I use this in the water, I did get some fog coming up in the lens of the camera. It's just honestly fog from the humidity and then it being in the water. That was my only other con that I really have, which isn't even about the camera, it's about the case, so I wouldn't really even consider that con. I think this is a really great camera, and if you're looking for something that's super affordable and lets you kind of show off your travels, maybe you're new to videography and photography and vlogging and all that stuff, the features are really incredible for only being $100, and the amount of accessories that you get, it's just it's worth it in my opinion. I mentioned earlier, it's something that's small and compact to where I feel like I could bring this anywhere. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's a really great camera and I'm super happy that I got to work with ExproTrek on this. Alright guys, I think that is my final review for the ExproTrek 4K action camera. I'm going to have links in my description down below that you can click on. To be fully transparent with you, they are affiliate links, so if you click on them, I do get some commission if you do decide to buy through my links. So just full transparency and honesty, that is always what I want to promote on my channel. If you have any questions or concerns about the camera, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up down below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on another video from me. I don't know about you, but I am hungry for some cookies. I just made some chocolate chip cookies and I'm very ready to eat these. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!